good afternoon, good morning. Listen, I'm Dr. Lett. There's always time to interview amazing people doing amazing things. We're taking it back to Kent State University because, as always, I consider it one of the top institutions in the world. I'm Dr. Lett on I'm Dr. Lett, the podcast. I'm honored to be joined by Lizzie. Now, she's going to introduce herself, but she's going to share an amazing story about graduating from the Kent State University a few times and how the journey is one where it shaped and molded her into the amazing person that she is today. So without further ado, Lizzie, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for that warm introduction. Yeah, my name is Lizzie. Like you said, I'm very recently a two-time graduate of Kent State. So I got my undergraduate degree from Kent in speech pathology and audiology. I actually had a few semesters of grad school in speech pathology too here at Kent. But more recently, I graduated from the higher education administration program here at Kent. So I got my master's in education just this May. And right now, I am the outreach program coordinator for the Office of University Outreach Engagement, or UOE, because it's kind of a long name. So UOE. And UOE works on creating college access through different initiatives, different programming. So my main role with that is I advise College Credit Plus students who are the students enrolled in the state's dual enrollment program. And then I also do a lot of programming for students from our pipeline partner organization. So like Akron Public Schools, the LeBron James Family Foundation, Cleveland Metropolitan School District, Cleveland College Now, and there's other ones too, but yeah, I do the programming and the advising. Oh, I also run our social media page. We only have an Instagram right now, but I'm trying to be more active on it. So it's Kent State UOE, shameless plug. But yeah, it's like a little gist overview.
Yes. Now, Liz, I feel as though you are going to be someone that 20 years from now, we're going to say, wow, I remember when Liz was completing her bachelor's and her master's degree, and maybe there is a doctoral degree in the future, Liz. Maybe.
I could see that. There's a lot of people around me who say it too, and I kind of want one too. Like, I don't know. I wrote this research paper in my last semester of grad school, and I wrote it on Asian American experiences in fraternity and sorority life. And it was basically like a lit review kind of. So I didn't actually do any research, but I loved it. My professor was like, oh my gosh, you should look into getting a PhD. Like, you could totally expand upon this research. I don't know, and I love school, but
Give it some thought. Now you have to tell us, because you've been at the Kent State University for a while, right? Tell us about your experience. What was your experience like as a student?
yeah. So my experience started out really different than what it is now. So, well, first of all, it was different because I started my freshman year during COVID. So fall 2020 was my first semester as an undergrad student. Although I'll back up. Technically, I started as a CCP student. I did CCP at the Kent State Tuscarawas campus my junior and senior year of high school. But then I officially got started with Kent State, COVID. So that was really weird, but it was still fun. I lived on campus still, but I just stayed in my dorm all day because we couldn't go anywhere. But I still had like a blast in my dorm. So then, yeah, I was speech pathology and audiology in undergrad. I loved that. I loved the classes. I loved all my friends that I had. And then thanks to all the CCP credits, I actually graduated early. So I was able to start a combined bachelor's and master's program with the speech pathology program. So I started that. And I liked that too. I liked the coursework. I still had all the same friends. I was like, this is amazing. I want to keep doing this. But then I started kind of not really enjoying it as much as I thought I would. During my sessions that I would have with clients, all I would do was talk to the client. I didn't actually enjoy like performing the speech therapy duties that I was supposed to be doing. I just like talking. I would just talk to them. And it's like, I don't know if I want to be doing speech therapy duties for the rest of my life. So, and then that kind of caused the whole thing. It was a really stressful time in my life where I was like, oh my gosh, I got a whole undergraduate degree in this. What do I do now? I don't know if I want to do this. You can't do that much with just a speech pathology undergraduate degree. Like, I couldn't be a practicing speech therapist. So after a lot of, talks with my mom, and then Kent State was also a really good support system during that time. Even though I wasn't happy, it was never actually like with Kent State or the university or the program. I actually was able to utilize a lot of the services here to kind of help me feel better. Like, I used some of our counseling services, so that was good. And then my own program coordinators, they were just so nice. I remember the day I actually decided, I was like, okay, I have to say something. I'm going to take a leave of absence from the program. I remember my coordinator, I was expecting her to be like, oh my gosh, why? But she was just like, okay. If I was like, I don't know if I know I can do this for the rest of my life, but I don't know if I want to. And she was like, just because you can doesn't mean you have to. You should go do something that makes you happy. And I kind of took that and ran. So I was on my leave of absence. I was like, so long, Kent State. Didn't think I'd see you again. And then I had like an odd net. I worked at Bath and Body Works for a while. I'm like, that was fun. And then I started with AmeriCorps, the federal program. So I was with AmeriCorps as in their Vista program. And they had a job at Kent State. And I'm like, okay, this would be kind of cool. Go back to Kent State. It was with the Office of University Outreach and Engagement. And as an undergrad student, I hadn't even heard of that. I didn't know what it was. So I was like, sure, I'll do that. I'll apply for it. Why not? So I started that in October 2023. So, came back to Kent. And I was nervous to come back because I'd lost like that identity as a student. I was like, this is so weird. I'm like a staff member now. But I got comfortable really fast, thanks to my amazing office. And I just love Kent. I love being here as a student. I love being here as a staff member. And yeah.
And now you touched on it was really interesting, and I had more of a non-traditional experience in terms of my degrees and working and going back to school and all that. But for you and your experiences, what were some of the experiences that really helped you grow as a student while at Kent State University?
Yeah, so I would say, thinking back to undergrad, all of the student organizations that I was a part of, those definitely really shaped me. And I kind of had like a nice little variety of experiences. Like, I was in the Speech Pathology Professional Student Organization. So I did that. I was on the executive board for that. And I did social media, which, now kind of translates into my role right now where I do UOE social media. I also did stuff with the residence halls. So I would do like programming. And who knew, like, I'm doing programming now. I just think it's so funny. And then I also got to do undergraduate research in a swallowing rehabilitation lab. And I think I like research. I would totally do it again. But then in grad school, I think the main experiences that kind of stood out to me was meeting all of my classmates. Like, we are best friends. We still talk to this day. Like, I miss them so much. But we all have such different walks of life and different, like, we came from different universities. We have international students. So I think just learning from them and learning about their college experiences and how every college experience is so different and everyone's path to college and through college is so different. And that's also been kind of reinforced through my work here with UOE because, our whole thing is college access. So I get to see the different ways that students think about, have access to, experience college. And that kind of made me kind of look at my own college experience, recognize the privileges that I had, the opportunities that I had, and then look at that in other areas of my life too. But sorry, this is kind of a long answer. But another area that I think, this one's just kind of silly. I learned through this job to really just be myself because I always felt like I needed to be really professional, and obviously I still try to be professional, but I learned to just be myself with students, and I think they're kind of drawn to that. Like one of the students this summer, she was like, Lizzie, you're so awkward. And I was like, I know, it's okay. So yeah, I'm just like, that would have tore me up a few years ago. But now I'm like, I love that students can see me being myself and that they clearly still like me. At least I think.
Yeah, no, it's always it's always really a blessing working with students, working with really anyone. So I know for me, when I worked in really a similar role to Lizzie when I was at Kent State University, and it was amazing to connect with so many students from just every walk of life, and you've seen students that collectively they share some of the same challenges and some of the same ways in which they're very encouraged on campus, just things like that. And so I'm curious to know, Lizzie, what were what's some of the more rewarding parts or rewarding moments you have working with students?
Yeah, there's so many. So I think the main one that I can think of, and this really got to play out this summer, but so we have all of our programs, and we have the students in the programs, and that's great. During these camps and campus visits, we start to form like mentor-mentee relationships with them. They come to us for advice. But then this summer, some of the students that participated in my first year of summer camps, they came back, but as coaches, like they're college students now. And that was such a full circle moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, you were a high school student when I met you. And now you're here as a coach. You're here kind of as my colleague, my team member. And I get to see the things that you do with the students that like were you just a few years ago, and you're giving back. And I just love to see it. I love hearing about what they're doing. Like sometimes students will stop by our office in Cartwright and just sit down and talk to me and Sherilyn. They'll be like, this is what's going on with my classes. This is what's going on with this. I'm thinking of joining Greek life. And I just love hearing about what they're doing and what they are discovering about college and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the biggest reward. But I also really like when, with the programming that I plan, when I have a workshop, I come up with it. I'm like, oh, this would be cool about goal setting or something. And then during the workshop, I'll notice sometimes students will like take notes or they'll take pictures of the board. And just that little thing is enough to get me like, oh my gosh, okay, they're taking something away from this. And that was the goal. So just seeing that makes me so happy. And I'll like always remember when students do that.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say I've had the privilege and honor to work with Lizzie on, initiatives across campus. It's always been incredible how well she connects with students, and also there's, parents and so many different stakeholders Lizzie has had to really connect with. And so I've seen in person her being herself is really her superpower. And so Lizzie, just keep that in mind. And don't worry, we all can relate. We're all a little awkward. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
And so Lizzie, transitioning from, undergraduate student, grad student, now, graduating, right? So tell us next steps, post graduate, what's next?
Yeah. So first things first, this kind of goes back to the last thing. I'm just still excited to see like what the students that I work with are accomplishing. Like we're kind of going to be welcoming almost a new cohort. Like I said, the first cohort of students I worked with, they're in college now. So then this next cohort, like we work with them all the way from like 10th grade up until they're seniors. And then when they get to college. So I think just to meet these new students and then to see kind of how they develop throughout the time that I work with them, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to, of course, keep talking with and interacting with the current students, and hopefully they'll come be coaches again next summer. That would be fun. But yeah, I'm also just really excited to kind of take on this new role with the university, because as a graduate assistant, I still felt like I was professional and stuff. But now I feel like I really, I'm the adult. I'm an adult. I have benefits. Like I actually, I'm professional here. I'm an adult. So I'm excited to just kind of grow with the university in that way. But yeah.
Now, Lizzie, it's I'm really I am excited because just working with you and seeing just your professionalism, your growth, your development, and listen, everyone watching this, I'm telling you, watching Lizzie command the attention of a large group of high school students is really impressive. So that's something that, whether it's walking across campus and telling them to stay focused, because it's easy to get some stragglers out there. So Lizzie, as someone that you're an inspiration to so many students across campus, and there's someone watching this that I know you've inspired. What advice would you give to anyone they're afraid to take their first step and really explore and open themselves up and enjoy their collegiate experience?
Yeah, so first I would just say, like, it's okay if you're unsure about things, if you don't know for sure if what you're doing is what you want to do for the rest of your life. That's fine and that's normal and that's okay. But just kind of, take it day by day, take little steps if you want to go down another, like maybe you want to go down this other path and you're not sure if you want to go down that path, or maybe there's like a million paths that you want to go down. Because at one point I was like, I think I would want to be an archaeologist or maybe an anthropologist. But yeah, just taking those little steps. Maybe that looks like joining just one student organization that, you were interested in, but you're always kind of nervous to join. Or maybe it looks like, applying for a student position that you think you might be interested in, but it's not exactly aligned with your major, but you would be interested in it. I say just do it, you just say yes, and that can open up so many opportunities and doors and relationships that can help lead you along to wherever your next step is.
Now, I will say, Lizzie, you have been amazing. This has been incredible, just insightful, so many gems throughout this interview. What I would look forward to, you mentioned you run social media. You need to have a podcast where you interview people because, listen, you have something. You have an incredible story. So many students can relate, right? Well, how does that sound? Lizzie's podcast?
That's so nice. Oh my gosh. Well, I have a student, a high school student. He runs a social media page. He has like thousands of followers, and he's offered to help me grow my social media presence. So I might have to take him up on that.
Yes. Now, before we conclude this incredible interview, tell us, what takeaways should viewers leave with?
Yeah, I think just be yourself, listen to yourself and what you want and what you need, and allow yourself to kind of follow those wants and needs, even if it is scary. That's okay. And I know it's easier said than done to do that, but at least listen to it, at least like humor the idea a little bit. Yeah, just be yourself, be open to different things, trying new things, learning new things. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Lizzie. This has been incredible. It's always amazing to highlight amazing people doing amazing things within their communities. And in this case, higher education. I will always promote education because really learning is growing. And so, Lizzie, thank you.
Thank you so much. This was so great.